From the high salt flats of the Andes to the thunder of southern ice, Argentina is known for its drama. But outside the spotlight, there are places that whisper instead of roar. Hidden lakes, wind-carved deserts, fossilized forests, and glacial valleys with no names on maps. This isn't the Argentina of postcards or parades. This is the Argentina that watches quietly, through stone, through water, through time. Stretching from tropic to tundra, Argentina is a country of extremes. But between those extremes lie spaces that don't ask to be found. They wait. Forgotten rock towers, ancient wetlands, crimson canyons, and mountain forests untouched for centuries. This journey isn't about the places everyone photographs. It's about the ones that remain preserved, wild, and overlooked, where geology, ecology, and silence speak louder than crowds. In Unseen Argentina, we'll travel from remote Patagonian plateaus to the edge of the Andean spine. And every step will take us farther from what's known and closer to what's real. In the remote province of Catamarca, where the high desert stretches to the Andes, lies a landscape that looks almost lunar, Campo de Piedra Pomez, the field of pumice stone. Formed by ancient volcanic eruptions and sculpted over centuries by wind, this vast field is made of giant, ghost-white formations. Pumice towers, stone waves, and sharp ridges that rise like frozen surf. The ground is soft underfoot, and the silence is total. Spread across 25,000 acres, the field appears endless. The contrast between the white pumice, the black sand, and the clear blue sky creates a color palette more Martian than earthly. There are no trails, no signs, just light, shadow, and wind. And for those who reach it, a moment of complete disorientation and awe. Campo de Piedra Pomez isn't a tourist attraction. It's a monument to geological time and one of South America's most hauntingly beautiful secrets. In the western province of San Luis, rising unexpectedly from the dry plains, the Sierra de las Kihadas stretch like the ribs of a sleeping giant. Red sandstone cliffs, deep canyons, and silent valleys, sculpted by wind and time. This protected national park is home to some of Argentina's most dramatic desert scenery. Rugged ridgelines, labyrinthine gorges, and plateaus lit in gold at sunrise. But unlike more famous formations in the north, this place is almost never crowded. Fossils of ancient reptiles and early dinosaurs have been uncovered here, preserved in the rock walls. Condors circle the thermals above, while dry creeks tell stories of ancient rivers that once ran wild. Sierra de las Kihadas isn't loud. It doesn't need to be. It's a cathedral of stone, where silence and scale speak louder than words, and where those who walk its canyons walk through epochs. At nearly 13,000 feet above sea level, hidden deep in the La Rioja highlands, lies Laguna Brava, a vast saltwater lake surrounded by volcanic peaks, flamingos, and silence that stretches across the sky. This surreal basin sits in a windswept bowl of rust-colored mountains and snow-streaked volcanoes, where the water glows turquoise by midday and crystallizes at the edges in winter. It's one of Argentina's highest lakes, and also one of its least known. Once part of a trade route and now a provincial reserve, Laguna Brava is home to Andean flamingos, vicuñas, and winds so strong they leave ripples in the salt. Along its shores lie abandoned refuges, built centuries ago for crossing caravans, now swallowed by the landscape. There are no hotels, no fences, just light, altitude, and the thin breath of air moving across a water body that has been still for thousands of years. Laguna Brava isn't a place you stumble upon, it's one you earn. And once there, it feels like the roof of a forgotten world. Stretching for over 100 miles through the Jujuy province, the Cabrada de Humahua is a high-altitude desert valley shaped by wind, water, and more than 10,000 years of human movement. But beyond the famous viewpoints, this valley still holds vast, unseen pockets. Quiet villages like Arroyo, crumbling pre-Columbian terraces, and hidden canyons colored in every shade of ochre, rust, and violet. The valley's rock layers read like a book, twisted and lifted into dramatic forms by tectonic forces, then carved into arched cliffs, dry riverbeds, and rainbow-striped hills like the Cerro de los Siete Colores. At sunrise, the colors ignite. By dusk, the land fades into mystery. Though UNESCO listed, much of the valley remains untouched by mainstream tourism. Go beyond Purmamarca, and you'll find paths lined with cactus, herds of llamas, and mountains that seem to hum with history. Cabrada de Humahua isn't just a place. It's a long breath of time, where nature, culture, and silence still move together. On the windswept coast of southern Santa Cruz, far from roads and crowds, lies Monty Leon National Park, a place where Patagonia meets the sea, and where nature has carved an untouched kingdom of cliffs, grasslands, and tidal wonder. The park is home to Argentina's only marine national reserve, protecting vast coastal plains, eroded sandstone towers, and thousands of Magellanic penguins that nest in burrows just above the tide line. Sea lions rest on isolated beaches, and fossils lie half-buried along cliff faces that catch fire at sunset. Hiking trails wind through wind-bent shrubs and fossil beds, leading to panoramic views of the Atlantic and strange rock formations like Cabeza del Leon, the lion-shaped bluff that gave the park its name. There are no cities, no hotels, just open land, crashing surf, and the haunting call of seabirds on the wind. In the heart of Chubut province's arid steppe, rising like a monument from the flatness, stands Pedra Prada, a solitary volcanic plug, 240 meters tall, sculpted by ancient eruptions and left behind as everything else eroded away. The name means standing stone, and it lives up to it, towering and jagged, visible from miles across the Patagonian desert. But the wonder doesn't end there. Just beyond the monolith lies the Cañón de la Batrera, a dramatic canyon carved by a lava flow and river, where red walls close in around narrow trails and hidden caves. The whole complex is part of a long-extinct volcanic system, and today, it's one of Argentina's top climbing destinations, yet almost entirely ignored by international travelers. Silence reigns here. Birds of prey glide between canyon walls, and the desert wind whispers through cracks in the stone. Pedra Prada isn't just a formation. It's a memory of fire, frozen in time, standing alone beneath the sky. On the border of Argentina and Brazil, Iguazu Falls roars louder than any other natural wonder in South America. Over 250 cascades, carved into the jungle in a semicircle of unstoppable water and mist. But while millions visit the viewing platforms, few explore the quieter trails, the Sendero Macuco, the lower circuit, or the mist-soaked paths that wind deep into the jungle. Where toucans call, coyotes forage, and the falls rise like thunder from the trees. It's not just the scale, it's the intensity. Iguazu isn't a postcard, it's a force. A place where sound becomes pressure, where rainbows form in the air, and where water falls not just down, but inward, pulling the forest around it into motion. Even within its fame, Iguazu still hides pieces of silence, of wildlife, of unfiltered jungle. And standing at the devil's throat, watching water fall into vapor, you don't just see Argentina's power, you feel its pulse. Tucked deep within the Santa Cruz province, far from paved roads and tour buses, lies the Cañón del Río Penturas. A remote gorge cut by the Penturas River, where multicolored cliffs, prehistoric art, and the sound of wind define the landscape. The canyon walls rise in layers of ochre, crimson, and ash, painted by time and volcanic sediment, sculpted into sharp ledges and twisted forms by ancient water. Below, the river cuts a silver path through the scrubland. Above, condors drift in silence, scanning the cliffs. But it's not just the geology that makes this place sacred. Hidden in shallow caves along the walls is one of South America's most mysterious relics, La Cueva de las Manos, a 9,000-year-old gallery of handprint stencils created by early hunter-gatherers, red, black, and white silhouettes frozen in stone. To walk this canyon is to move through layers of earth and memory. It's not marked by cities or signs. Only color, echo, and the feeling that something once lived here and still watches. Often overshadowed by its famous neighbor, Perito Moreno, the massive Vidma Glacier is the largest in Argentina. A frozen river of ancient ice spanning over 40 kilometers, reaching into the turquoise waters of Lago Vidma. Unlike glaciers where visitors stand at a distance, here you can walk across jagged blue ridges, descend into deep ice crevasses, and hear the groan of the glacier moving beneath your feet. Every crack, ripple, and wind-polished slope tells a story of time frozen in motion. Backed by the dramatic Fitzroy Massif and surrounded by lava-black rock, ice caves, and hidden pools of sapphire meltwater, Vidma is wilder, more raw, and less developed than its counterpart. Asterisk. To reach it requires effort, a boat ride, a glacier trek, and a willingness to move beyond the popular. But in return, you don't just see Patagonia, you step inside it. Vidma is not the glacier you've heard of. It's the one you'll remember most. At the base of the towering Maipo volcano, hidden deep in the Andean frontier of Mendoza province, lies Laguna del Diamante, a spectacular volcanic lake that reflects not just peaks, but time, sky, and solitude. This sapphire blue lake fills a massive ancient caldera at over 10,000 feet elevation. Ringed by ash-colored ridges, glacial streaks, and lava domes long cooled by wind. The still water mirrors the perfect cone of Maipo, creating an illusion so flawless it hardly seems real. Access is seasonal and difficult. Visitors must cross barren plateaus and volcanic dust fields. No paved roads, no development, just wide sky and open silence. On the shores, wild guanacos graze, and condors pass across sun-blasted peaks. Laguna del Diamante is not just a destination, it's an elemental experience, fire and ice, altitude and reflection. And the quiet realization that beauty like this doesn't call out, it waits. From volcanic deserts to glacier-fed lakes, from high-altitude salt flats to painted canyons carved by time, Argentina is more than a destination. It's a continent within a country. And while the world rushes toward what's seen, these places remain, carved by wind, preserved by silence, and waiting for those who look deeper. Here, stone breathes, ice listens, and the land still remembers what it was before names, borders, or roads. This journey wasn't about checking off wonders. It was about discovering the ones that still feel wild enough to surprise us. Because in Argentina, the most unforgettable places are not always the most visited. They are the ones that endure quietly, just beyond the edge of fame. If this journey through unseen Argentina moved you, subscribe to Era Trails and travel with us through the hidden, preserved, and powerful corners of the world. And share this with someone who still thinks Argentina is only tango and glaciers, because there's a whole country they haven't seen yet.